Hey guys, it's Angela with Daisy King Farm. Today is the 1-year anniversary of my ruptured brain aneurysm. December 22nd, 2016 is when my world changed forever. So I wanted to use that day, this anniversary, to give you guys some information about brain aneurysms. Some of the warning signs, I'm going to go over these, and I just want to tell you all, these are not all of the warning signs. You may have one or two or none of these. And the information I tell you today, I got from the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. You can go to their website at brainaneurysmfoundation.org to get more information. Most of the time, brain aneurysms are more likely in women. Women 40 and over. Usually you have high blood pressure, you might be overweight, you have a history of blood vessel issues, things like that. Every 18 minutes, a brain aneurysm ruptures in the United States. Of those that rupture, 40% are fatal. If you make it to the hospital, 66% of those people will have a permanent neurological deficit. If you're on your way to the hospital and you get to the hospital, you have a good chance of surviving. But 15% of the people that have ruptured brain aneurysms don't make it to the hospital. So I feel very, very blessed to have beat all of those odds. I made it to the hospital. I made it through surgery without stroke or any permanent deficits. The only thing I deal with right now is neurofatigue. That's my main thing. Then dealing with all of the headaches. I have a constant headache. If the pressure changes in the air, it increases my headache. If I'm tired or stressed, or I've had a lot of activity, watching TV, or a lot of noise. I'm very sensitive to light and very sensitive to noise. So I carry around really good earplugs with me everywhere I go. The other thing that I deal with, and I'm worried that this is going to get worse, ever since the rupture, my memory issues have gotten worse and worse, and it seems like over time they're getting worse. So I'm really trying to work on my memory, doing some games online or whatever I can do to work on my memory. So if I don't have it on a sticky note and put it to my forehead, I'm not going to remember it usually. Talk about some of the symptoms of a ruptured brain aneurysm or a brain aneurysm. Alright, so a brain aneurysm forms when there's a weak area in the blood vessel. So let's pretend this is my blood vessel and it's weak or diseased. So that means that, like if you had a water hose and it was real thin, you know, and it kept getting thinner and you were running water through it, then it's going to start bulging. Well, that's pretty much what makes an aneurysm. It bulges out, the blood flow goes up into the bulge, and then eventually a rupture happens when it busts the artery. Sudden extreme headache. I remember the night that I had my rupture. I had been running around all day. I was very tired. I was very stressed. My head was hurting, but I just didn't pay any attention to that. I was standing there talking to a friend. I had delivered soap to her, and we were talking about making homemade bread. And then the next thing I know, I feel this horrible pain, like somebody put an axe in my head. And I thought, oh, that's weird. And then it hit again. And I grabbed my head and I said, that's the worst headache of my life. That's the exact thing that people tell doctors and nurses in the ER if they make it there. You will definitely notice a difference in this pain than you would in a bad migraine. Okay, it's going to feel like a lightning bolt hit you in the head. Or an axe in your head, if you can imagine maybe that kind of pain. So it's not going to be a really bad migraine. It's probably going to be centered in one area or another. Okay, you can also develop nausea or vomiting. I didn't start doing that until after I had already collapsed, hitting the ground, My friend turned me on my side. I was unconscious and I started to vomit. So I did that quite a while, for hours. Another symptom is stiff neck. I do remember my neck being a little stiff. I was just assuming it was, tension from being so stressed. But a stiff neck can also be one of the symptoms. Blurred or double vision. I did not have that symptom, but some people can. Light sensitivity. So if normally you are not sensitive to light, and all of a sudden you are, and then maybe your neck starts getting stiff. So again, one or two of these may be what you encounter, maybe none of them at all. A seizure can also occur. I did not have a seizure before or after. Droopy eyelid. Mine are droopy anyway because I'm sleepy all the time. But you can have that. And then a loss of consciousness. Obviously, if you're by yourself, you're not going to know that. But if a family member is around, they can put these things together, call 911 and get you some help. Make sure you share these symptoms with your friends and family. I had no idea what the symptoms were before this happened to me, and neither did my family. My mom has already helped save one of her friends. She shared these symptoms with her that she had seen on Facebook. She was posting about some of the symptoms she was having. So my mom said, go get a CTA done. She did, and they found an aneurysm. So please, please, please pay attention to this. A couple of the tests that they can do to find out if you have a brain aneurysm is a CTA and an MRA. The best surefire way to get a good idea of what you have going on is a angiogram, where they go into your artery in your groin. They go up through here into your brain with the dye. That is a very, very accurate way of looking. That's how they go in and look at mine every time. I've had, I don't know, a half dozen of those this year to check on it, and that's how they found out that I needed more surgery in May and more surgery in August. So again, find all of that information and more on the BrainAneurysmFoundation.org. Okay, Jalen, I wanted to talk to you about what you remember about when Mommy had her brain aneurysm ruptured. Do you remember much about that? It was almost a year. It was a year ago.
Yeah, I remember.
What can you tell me about what you remember?
Well, I remember nobody telling me anything, to be completely honest. I had no idea what was going on until almost 4 hours after anything actually happened.
Whenever it happened.
Well, you had a brain aneurysm. You went to an ambulance and you went to UT.
People started showing up at the house, like, randomly.
And you were there for about 2 weeks.
What are we gonna do? I think Christmas was the biggest thing for me, was what are we gonna do for Christmas?
Yeah.
How's that gonna happen?
Right. So, were you kind of worried about Mommy when I had my surgery?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just sat down and I was just sad.
You didn't get to see me until what? Like the last...
Until after Christmas.
So you got to go Christmas shopping for me.
Yeah, at like 1 in the morning at Walmart, yeah.
You brought, what did you bring? Gifts, different gifts for me?
So we had a big celebration and we bought gifts. And
Yeah.
we all just had a good time talking to each other.
And I'm an elf.
And she's an elf. And she has a blue tongue. So then again in May, Mama had to have surgery again.
Yeah, I was pretty worried.
Talk about a little bit about how it feels to have a mom walking around with a cane.
It's not really any different. I mean, you just need it for support. There's not much of a difference. I mean, it's just, although it does make me mad when people question you or like look at you weirdly. That makes me mad, but that's definitely the biggest thing. Is like not everybody who is handicapped looks it.
Yes, we've had lots of friends help us out. It's been rough. I've had to practice a lot of patience.
Why do you think that?
Because Mommy's patience level used to be here, now it's down here.
You've become a really good hand washer.
Yes, I wash dishes now.
You had to take on a lot of new roles,
Yeah.
things.
Honestly, I basically just kind of had to do everything that you did, but I mean, in a smaller scale, because I did have Jason to help, and his parents were here, so.
When I got married, I said I don't wash dishes. I'll clean the bathroom, I'll clean everything else, but I'm not going to wash dishes. Now I wash dishes.
You did a good job.
I know, I'm going to do that.
And you helped out with the laundry,
Yeah, I'm always doing laundry.
driving the kids around, because I didn't drive for so long.
Yeah, I had to change at work,
Change shifts.
change shifts. Like I was on the swing shift, now I'm working days.
So that way you could get the kiddos.
I had to do Christmas in the hospital because the kids couldn't see her. So I knew I was going to be home a lot. My first hobby is fishing. So I knew I wasn't going to be fishing that much this year, so I decided to go all out on the garden. And so we've now established a huge back to Eden garden. I realize that you can handle a lot more than you think you can.
You guys have seen the perspective of my children. I just wanted to kind of go to each of them and get their perspective of what happened that day, what their thoughts are on what happened over those next few weeks. I missed Christmas, and then of course I had 2 more surgeries. I want you guys to see that it does something like this, a life-changing event, does not just happen to me. It happened to my entire family. It affected everybody that touched me. From the nurses, the doctors. I mean, my doctors are just, they look at me and go, you know, I know there's a God because you shouldn't be here today. They did everything textbook that they could for me, but God took over and He's the reason I'm here. I wanted you to know that anytime you go through some sort of life-changing event, you're not alone. You may feel like it, but you're not alone. Your family is going through it with you, and you know, just try to look at it with that perspective. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the perspective that they gave you on that too. My perspective, if I look back on this last year, it's gone by really fast. There were moments where I didn't think it would ever go by. When I was in the hospital, I remember waking up, this was before my first surgery, and all that was on my mind was I needed to get home to make my broccoli cheese casserole for Christmas, and I needed to wrap my Christmas presents. That was what I was going to do when I got back home that evening. Instead, God had other plans, and I made a trip to the hospital. My family was they were just floored and amazed that that was what was on my mind. At the same time, I was very calm and at peace, even knowing I was asking, am I going to die? I asked my family that several times. The peace, I believe, came from the fact that I know where I'm going when I leave this earth. The Lord has saved me, and I will be in heaven with Him one day, and I pray that each of you will too. I think He left me here to raise these kids, to be a wife to my husband, and to be a testimony for Him. There's no reason I should be here except for Him and His purpose, okay? I'm really doing good. I do have the headaches constantly. They get worse at different times. But I'm looking forward to seeing a new neurologist who specializes in this particular kind of headache, and that's going to be in a few weeks after Christmas. So thanks for staying and listening to this whole thing, and I pray that you guys will have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We thank you so much for being on Patreon and watching us over on YouTube. So I'm going to close this out now and say God bless you. Merry Christmas.
Please leave down in the comments of what your favorite thing or what God bless your family with. Always count on God and always pray about it.
I love you. Mwah. I love you. Merry Christmas. I love you. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Love you, honey.
Love you
Thanks
too.
for all you've done for me this year.
You're welcome.
And the kiddos.
Thank you.
So, are we really, really excited about Christmas this year?
Yes.
Because we're all going to be together.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
Guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all later.